Hi everyone, welcome back to another video with saklesmiles. If you are new to the gang, hit that subscribe button, and if you are a returning subscriber, I welcome you back. Supporting Black-owned businesses and restaurants can have an enormous impact. It builds up the Black community, provides jobs and opportunities for our people, and highlights the talents and gifts of people of color. So in today's video, I have with me the lovely fashion designer and owner of Zonya Campbell. Zonya, I thank you for being a guest on my channel, and I'm excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, without further ado, let's begin. Before we get into your company background, let's just start with you. So who are you, Zonya, and how did you get into fashion design?
All right, who am I? All right, so I'm Zonya Campbell. I am a social worker. That's my career. Right now, I do social working. I'm actually a supervisor, so I'm no longer in the field. And I own several businesses, but fashion is my main business that I focus on right now. Um, yeah, I don't know. What else you want to know?
Okay. So what first introduced you to fashion? Like why fashion compared to like when you were growing up, did you always want to be a fashion designer or how did this fall into your lap?
No, I never even thought about fashion when I was growing up. I started off when I was about 15 years old doing hair, and I thought that that's where my journey in life was going to take me. But my parents, they were very big on education.
Mm-hmm.
So going to school and getting a good education was their main focus, their main drive. They didn't care about me working and stuff like that. They just wanted to make sure that I went to school.
Mm.
And so I went to school to study psychology with the intention of getting my doctorate degree
Mm-hmm.
in psychology. But while in college, I started my first business, which was a jewelry line. That's why Zedon Fashion is also part of Zonya Campbell, because that's how I started out as Zedon Fashion, doing jewelry. And while in college, there was a class I was taking my last semester, and the teacher wanted us to expand on our life. And it didn't have to, like, whatever we chose the project to be, it didn't have to stop at the end of the semester. It could have been something that we take on further in life.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was just telling myself how I wanted to add clothes to my business, because I always wanted to own my own business as a young girl, and I always wanted to do, clothes and jewelry and things like that. Um, one one year, it was in 2012, I think it was, during the Boston Carnival. A young lady, she was going around looking for vendors for her fashion show,
Mm-hmm.
and she gave me her business card, and we spoke a little bit. And then after the carnival, I called her up to find out more about the event, and I entered myself into her event and became a vendor. And I had brought my cousin with me at the time to help me. While my cousin was watching my boot, I went to watch the fashion show, and I kind of like just immediately became inspired.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked her like what was happening and stuff, and she told me like, oh, it's local artists in Boston who they make their own clothes and stuff like that, and then a lot of people, they throw fashion shows and they come out and they showcase their stuff. And instantly I just became inspired and intrigued, and so I went home and did some research on what that was, because my background is in psychology, and
Right.
having this boutique. So when the teacher gave us the assignment, the final project for the year, and me already in my mind that that's what I wanted to do, to add clothes to
Mm-hmm.
my business, I felt like they aligned perfectly. So I went home, did some research on how to sew. I think like I studied YouTube for like 2 weeks. Then I called her up and I was like, when is your next show? And she was like, it's gonna be in it was in March of 2013. And I was like, I want to enter. I didn't know nothing about sewing, fashion, nothing. But
Wow.
I think that gave me the motivation to learn, because
Mm.
I had already committed myself to someone. And I'm the type of person, like, if I commit myself to something, I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so because I was already committed to it, I knew that I wasn't going to drop out of it. So I had to learn something, whether it was perfect or not, we were going to do something. So I did that, bought myself a sewing machine, practiced for like 2 more weeks. I was stressed out those 2 weeks because I was getting ready to throw the sewing machine out the window. But I was still determined. And so I went to New York, bought some fabric because I learned that there was a fabric district in New York. Went there, bought fabric, went home, and I just kept practicing. But 2 weeks before the show, I dedicated 2 weeks of no sleep.
I bet.
And I banged out 12 pieces of garment.
Wow.
But what was interesting about the whole situation, and I'm a very spiritual person, so I might talk about God periodically through this. I watched how God aligned certain people in my life to help me kind of fulfill the task. Now, I didn't know what purpose was at that time, like I do now, but it's like my mom, who was so caught up on me getting this education, she was cooking me breakfast to make sure that I was nourished enough to finish what I needed to do to get into the show.
That's amazing.
And then I had my friends and my cousins, they just jumped to the task without me having to even ask them for help to make sure that I was ready for something. And it's so amazing now that I look at it and I think back then of how God was using them to kind of like align me,
Exactly.
And so I entered myself in the fashion show, and the review that I got from that was so amazing. And the fact that I actually produce pieces like that, it was crazy of how my creativity then was. And then at the end of I got an A on the project. But I just kept going. So after I graduated, instead of me going back to school, I decided that, you know what, I'm gonna see if maybe I could pursue this dream that I'm having. And so I just continued. I mean, along the way, I stopped. I got burned out. I was doing so many fashion shows. I got burned out. I was tired. I wasn't seeing my return and all that other stuff. So I stopped for like a few years, and I got back into it. And then I stopped again. But in 2018, I decided to commit myself to it full time, and not to stop, regardless. But also to use my fashion not just as some pretty clothes, but also to inspire people to not to give up on their dreams. And no matter what obstacles might come in your way, that if you continuously persevere through, the rewards will be beautiful at the end.
Yeah.
And if God has placed something in your heart, it's there for a reason. And it doesn't matter what other people's perception of what you're doing, whether they think like, why is she doing that? She's not even doing anything. They don't know the vision that God gave you. They don't know why you're doing what you're doing. And it's not their dreams anyways.
Exactly.
So you got to continue. And now, so in 2018, I rebranded my brand as Zonya Campbell because I wanted to be the face of my brand. Because my brand was not just about clothes, it was about a mission.
Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. The one pattern that I witnessed, though, that story that you told me, is that, like, you never gave up. Like, you never gave up, even if you didn't know how to sew, even if, all those things. Like, you did not give up, and it brought you to where you are today. So that's just amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, I still have some pieces that I made when I first started, and I look at my clothes now and I'm like, what was I thinking? Because, even like I met my mentor at Joann's Fabric, and we have become so close over the years, and that was back in like 2013, 14, I think it was, and we are still great friends. She considers me as a daughter, but she's given me the knowledge of how important it is for the detail. It's not even like putting two pieces of fabric together, but it's the details that makes the difference of how your clothes look. And I've always kept that with me. So when I look back at what I used to do versus what I do now, I focus mostly on making sure that my stitches is okay and the detail is right, because that's the presentation of your piece,
Yeah, and I'm sure when you focus on that the clothes last a lot longer.
Yeah.
And it just looks a lot better. You could definitely tell, especially like in like stores that you go in today, like you could definitely tell that they just put two pieces of fabric together and didn't really care about the detail.
Listen, it's hard to go into stores and buy clothes because I'm always observing. Like I'm like, no, this is gonna fall apart.
Exactly. After one or two washes, or like you get a hole in your clothes or whatever.
I'm gonna say this like okay, so this year, actually 2021 was the first year I actually went into a designer store like Louis Vuitton. I went into Louis
Mm-hmm.
Vuitton, and I've always been like, I would never buy such something so expensive
Mm-hmm.
and all that other stuff. And that's just that limiting thought that I had, like why are they so expensive and all that other stuff. And I'm telling you, I went into the Louis Vuitton store and a friend of mine gifted me a piece of a purse from there.
Mm-hmm.
And just the environment of the store and just getting that piece of thing that Louis made it, the purse, and I looked at it and I was like, it's the quality
Yep.
that I'm paying for.
Yep.
And even though it was like a great experience, it shifted my mind as a designer. I
Mm-hmm.
took a lesson out of just being in the store. It wasn't about me having this expensive piece of merchandise. It was the lesson that I took from it, how important it is to really pay attention to the quality of what you do. And so it's also shifted how I design now
Mm-hmm.
because I'm paying attention to the quality. I would prefer to have quality over quantity.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that's what Louis Vuitton is all about. They're more of quality over quantity because if you notice, how
Mm-hmm.
they do certain things. Yeah. So, yeah, I just put that in there.
Yeah, no,
But
you're completely right. Like when people go shopping nowadays, they look at the prices, or online shopping, they look at the prices and they run. But it's like you got to remember, if you buy this one item, it's gonna last you for life compared to buying it cheaper and then it breaks or it rips or tears or whatever, and then you have to buy another one. So
yeah,
all this same item that you buy throughout the years over and over just because you like to buy it cheap, eventually that price would add up to that one price that you could have bought for the one expensive item.
I agree with you.
Okay, so what variety of items do you sell?
Um, so I still have Zidon Fashion as a so Zonya Campbell is the brand.
Mm-hmm.
Zidon Fashion, I would say, is part of it. Because I wanted to still have that vision that I had when I was a young girl of having my own boutique. So I
Mm-hmm.
do still sell I do still buy stuff wholesale and sell back retail. But
Okay.
then I also have Zonya Campbell is more of my custom couture line where these pieces I actually make with my hands and design myself. So I sell jewelry
Mm-hmm.
still. There's some shoes on there, and there's a lot of great things that's gonna even come out of the shoes and the purses and stuff that I'm working on. And then I sell dresses. I sell custom dresses. I sell everyday, dresses, pants, like different things. Like, so you have your ready to wear. Like ready to wear means like you can purchase it right now and wear it. And then you have your custom slash couture is what you actually have someone design for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go into production to make it to fit you and your body type exactly.
Mm-hmm. So I've seen this beautiful gown. I'm gonna show it on the screen here to the right. But the beautiful black gown that you were wearing, that you modeled.
Uh,
Oh, that was beautiful. So you could make
Thank
that
you.
in white.
Yes, I can make it in any color.
So that's a wedding dress right there. You know? So these wedding dresses that are going for like 1,500 and up, you could buy this dress instead and get it in white, and that's a beautiful wedding dress right there.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you. Okay, so who do you mostly cater to? So is it mostly just women, kids?
Yes, right. Yeah, right now it's women.
Okay. And what other platforms can people find your business?
I'm on Facebook. I'm not as active on Facebook as I am on Instagram. Usually I'm on Facebook because when I post on Instagram, it automatically posts on Facebook as well
Mm-hmm.
because they're connected. So I'll go over there to respond to my to the people who actually leaves me a comment because I feel like that's very important. If someone takes out 5 minutes or a second to write you something, you should respond to them and
Mm-hmm.
say thank you. And so I'll switch back between the two platforms, but I'm mostly on Instagram.
Okay. And I seen on your website that people are able to create an account and sign in and check on their items that they've purchased and the shipping information and things.
Yeah, once you purchase something from the website, you can actually, once everything is once you purchase, you'll get an email, and then you can start tracking it from there. And then once the item is shipped, all that information, your shipping information and everything like that, will be emailed to you. If you're having something custom made,
Mm-hmm.
you'll most likely speak to me directly so that we can kind of figure out the details and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then if there is not a way, for most custom things, people will actually, I'll create the PayPal invoice,
Mm-hmm.
and you can actually do the payments through there.
Okay. So I know you're located out of Massachusetts, but do you ship worldwide or?
Yes, yeah. I right now, especially, yeah, right now, I have people, because it's, my website is for everyone, so I have people
Mhm.
all over the place purchasing from me, and also too with my custom designs, I have people from all over um
Okay.
purchasing from me. That's the great thing about Instagram or
Right.
social media. I can say anybody in the world can find you.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. What are your future goals for your business?
Um, I have a lot of great goals, and I believe in not speaking about them too soon, because you have to, I have the vision written down, and I'm working towards it. And when I'm closer to accomplishing that goal, then I will share it with the world.
I
But
like
for right
that.
now, it's just between me and God.
I like that.
Yeah. Sometimes we get so happy and excited for people to know what we're doing, but sometimes when you plant a seed and you put it out there prematurely,
Mm.
it can stunt your growth.
Yes. Work in silence. That's the best way.
Yes, I
Yep.
strongly believe that.
Yes. All right. So y'all heard her, Zonya Campbell. People, support this amazing woman. I will leave her website and all her contact information in the description box down below. And Zonya, you are the perfect model for the clothes that you sell. You are absolutely
Oh, thank
beautiful.
you.
You and
Thank
your
you.
designs are very beautiful. Thank you for
Thank
allowing
you.
me to showcase your talents. And I
Thank you for
wish,
having me. I really appreciate
yes,
it.
I wish you all of the success with your business.
Thank you. And I wish you the success with your channel as well.
Oh, thank you. And for the rest of you, I will see you all in my next video with Saklesmiles.